Welcome back to CFB Nation. I am your host, Nino Brown, joined with my co-host, Mr. Get It Done, Dino. And this is the third episode of our brand new pod that we got going on called Devy Darling. My man, how we doing tonight?
Not too bad, not too bad. Finally getting some rain to get rid of all that Canada wildfire smoke. So,
And you're getting back in the saddle, right? You're coming out of retirement, going back in the saddle again. So that's good,
yeah,
right?
yeah, pretty excited.
We started out with a receiver, right? We went to a running back. We're back at receiver again with my guy. Planted my flag on this guy last year with Boomer on P2P. That's Tetairoa McMillan out of Arizona, a.k.a. T-Mac. This gentleman is just an absolute freak, Hawaiian sensation. 6'5", 205, right? Like just to build on him, screams elite outside wide receiver, right? He's got top-notch body control. It's very obvious in his jumping ability and his contested catch, 50-50 balls. The three-sport athlete in him. Not only is it football and basketball, but the kid plays volleyball. So the athleticism is through the chart. You can see it in his jumping ability. You a couple of those 50-50 balls saw the second half of the year. My man was dominating. So he's a natural playmaker, right? He makes the difficult catches look easy. He actually made up for some of the bad throws in Delora last year. He's got elite hands, shifty feet. And there's a couple of points you brought to my attention. I'm going to let you run with here in these last three. Go ahead, take it away.
Yeah, so midway through the year, he was only 185. He bulked up. Now, like you said, 205. Going into last year, he was only able to run 18 miles per hour. End of the year, only. End of the year running 22 miles per hour, which if you look at the NFL, Paris Campbell was the fastest active wide receiver in the NFL, and he ran 22.11 miles per hour. So he's right there. And this year during spring camp, he ran a 4.340.
Yeah,
so he's moving.
It's 6'5", right? Running a 4.340. Yeah. That's just stupid. Now, like Paris Campbell, I said it to you before we go on, was an absolute smoker at OU, right? Like Ohio State, he just crushed everybody, and that was with everybody on that team at the time was fast. He was just absurdly fast, right? It hasn't really panned out in the NFL. Maybe now they transfers over to a new home in the Giants. He can do his thing. But back to this guy, all right? Before he showed up to, Arizona Wildcats and burst on the scene last year, he was at Cervate High School, right, in California. 13 games in 2021, 88 receptions, 1,300 yards, 18 touchdowns. But wait, it gets better because my man played two-way. He was in the secondary. He had 35 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and 8 picks, and led his team to a 10-3 senior year record in high school. Bro, two-way player with 8 picks. D-Now, what's up, bro?
Yeah, I wonder how many offers you got to play DB on top of
right
wide receiver.
At 6'5", he probably was like 6'4", 6'3" coming into it when he was getting offers. That's a big boy covering. Like that's lockdown material, especially at 4.3 speed, right?
Yep.
But it's apparent on why they always say, and it's not a knock, all right. And I don't always agree with it, but ever since I've been watching football, I've always heard you play cornerback because you don't have hands, right? My man's got hands, so there was no way he was going the cornerback route, and that was very apparent last year. In 12 games, he had 81 targets, only 39 receptions, right? A lot of those weren't really catchable balls. He did have 700 yards receiving, 8 touchdowns, and this is the number for me: 18 yards per catch. I mean, that doesn't scream big playmaker. You need a first down. You're going to this kid. He did all that with Jacob Collins there, who was the one, right? I'm sorry to say, but he took over as the one towards the second half of the year.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just watching some of the tapes, like you said, only 39 receptions on 81 targets. A lot of those were jump balls, though. But even watching those, I think it was Oregon. I watched him out jump Bridges and Gonzo.
Right
there, didn't catch it, but just showed his athleticism. Just 2 potential first-round draft picks right there that he's out jumping. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I think he scares some of these defenders with his athleticism because he's crazy twitchy off the line with his speed, right? He can get to you and just get you off the line. But then, like, he gets a little bit of a step, and even if you're in front of him, if he doesn't get that step, they can throw the ball up there, and he can, and they know like this kid's a freak athlete. He can go up and get it, and if you're a small guy that ain't got hops, you're gonna
you're done.
You're going to be on a commercial somewhere. You're going to be on a highlight reel, and you don't really want to do that because this kid is going to a sophomore season. You don't want, because this is going to continue. It's not just going to be a flash in the pan. It's going to keep going. He lined up a little bit in the slot last year, 23%. He had 118 snaps. All right. It was always versatile because he did play, 75% on the outside, which is what Colin did as well. So I want to see if he can get a little more on the slot, because if you get him a little more on the slot, bro, he's just going to take off, especially with 4.3 speed.
Oh, yeah.
He has 195 yards after catch, but this is the number that I love to see. 16.2 as an A dot. So that's his average depth of target. This is 16 yards. Like that just screams to me playmaker. And he only had 3 total drops on the whole year. And I'm a Colorado guy because Deion's there, but he came out against Colorado. That was his coming out party. 5 receptions, 9 yards, touchdown. And my man threw a pass that was completed, right? And then 2 weeks later against the Huskies in Washington, 7 receptions, $132, 2 touchdowns, almost 19 yards per catch. I mean, this kid, we talked about Evan Stewart in the first episode, right? This kid is giving run for the money. I think both of these two Devy Darlings are probably better wide receiver than Luther Burden, who was the overall athlete in the class.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They each bring their own unique skill sets, but I think McMillan might be the better overall receiver between Stewart and him.
Right.
But yeah, I find it hard to believe that these guys weren't just right up there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When we talk about, getting that work, right? And we talk about guys that just can step in any situation. The Polynesian Bowl, I mean, he went right at it with Travis Hunter, and Hunter's the guy, right? Everybody wants to go. He was going at it with Travis Hunter in the bowl. He was in the Under Armour All-American game. He was handing that workout to these top guys. Like, this kid ain't afraid of the competition. This kid's got everything you want in a big receiver. He's got the speed. So if he can keep it together, keep his head straight in the game, I mean, you want to talk Devy Darling. This is that dude. Like he's got to be top 7. Right in the Devy community for wide receivers, it has to.
Oh yeah, easily. Anybody that actually knows something about that, he's definitely there.
He had 7 contested catches, right, out of a possible, I think it was 19. Like I said, some of them were just throwing up balls. You had mentioned that earlier, and there was a stat you brought up in the green room. His first 6 games, he had 16 yards per reception, but then final 6 games, Dino, you brought it up, was 20.2 yards. I mean, the connection was there. Him and Delora started grooving, right? And Delora came off meh stats previously, but when he got to Arizona, he put up 3,500 yards, 62% completion, and 26 touchdowns. If he can maintain that, right, now having another year, a better connection with T-Mac and Cowing, and they also bring in the freshman, A.J. Jones, who I believe is probably going to be in the slot, right? So there's no doubling Cowing or T-Mac. That's scary. You can't double either one of them guys because you're going to get burnt by the kid in the slot. And they got, I think it's Michael is the running back who is versatile. I believe he's got hands. A lot of options back there. I think this is, I'm going to go out and I've been planting my flag on this kid. I'm going to say this is the year he steps in. He's going to step into that top 5 wide receiver role in his class. And he's just going to say, bro, I'm here to stay. I don't know if he has another year like he had. Like, if he has a full season like he had the second half of the year, right, just takes off, gets 1,000 yards, right, gets to, say 12, 13 touchdowns, which I think is an absolute possibility.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be hard to keep him after his junior year. I think he's going to be out after his junior season.
I think if he has a season like that, I think it's going to be hard to keep him at Arizona for his junior season.
I think he came back this year because of Delora. Right now, Delora's a senior, so this is it. But he could come back for his 5th-year option because everybody's got that COVID option. So if Delora comes back, then maybe, T-Mac's going to, they'll stay. But I was surprised he didn't hit the portal when, the first portal was popping because everybody was looking for receivers. Like, you're going to try to tell me somewhere, I know they don't recruit in Clemson, but say Clemson's got Antonio Williams. You paired Antonio Williams with Tetairoa McMillan. Whoo! Right? Or Alabama, they've been looking for a dog receiver for a couple of years now. The guys that they bring don't seem to stay there. They tend to go elsewhere. So I don't know. His skill set is elite. His hands are elite. He's a super cerebral player. Obviously, played both sides of the ball. The three-sport athlete, I think, is just this. You can see it. It's on the field. It's just so apparent. He's screaming top 5 to me, and I agree with you. Though we're probably gonna be hard to keep him in Arizona. But if DeLorean can have a good year, and you pair that with Jedfish and Brendan Carroll, which I did not know was the son of Pete Carroll, NFL coach, but they bring that spread offense, right? And like I said, you have that kid AJ now in there in the slide, you're spreading the ball. Hey, if DeLorean goes to say 4,200, 4,100 yards and hits the 30 touchdowns, man, more of that's going to T-Mac, and this kid's just going through the roof. You got anything else you want to say about T-Mac before we close this one out?
I was going to say, if Delora can, like you've been saying, kind of build off of what he is in that 41, 30, 35 touchdown, I wouldn't be surprised if Arizona shocks a few people. Overall record, 8, 9 wins.
Ooh.
I mean, just because the Pac-12 right now is it's top heavy. You know who the top dogs are, but that middle, there's some wiggle room in there that Arizona may find themselves in that upper part of the middle.
I'm with you right there, because I'll tell you something right now. We all know Pac-12 defense is a suspect, right? USC did some things, bringing in Bear, right? They did some things to tighten up that defense. Brought in Mason Cobb at the linebacker position out of Oklahoma State. So they did things. But I don't see a secondary that can lock these two guys down. And you might, be a look-ahead game, USC or Utah or whoever it may be. You're doing a look-ahead, and these guys come out in the first half and put up 21-24 on you. And now you're like, oh, now you're in a shootout. I don't know if you can stay in a shootout with these guys, especially how they can run spread.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like you said, Pac-12 defense is right there with the Big 12 defense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think they're going to shock some people this year, and T-Mac's going to be a big reason why.
I love it. You heard it here first. Dino says it. I'm with that. Planted my flags last year. T-Mac is going to be the reason why the Wildcats are relevant, and T-Mac is going to climb the charts and be in a Devy top 5 wide receiver. Devy Darling. I'm Nino Brown. That's Mr. Get It Done, Dino.